Alrighty, so news of the week episode on this Wednesday evening, and we're gonna start off with talk about the Duncan McGuire transfer saga, and that this maybe be the last time we're gonna heard about this because it is pretty much almost 100% confirmed that this is not going to happen with Duncan McGuire going to Blackburn Rovers, and we also have now know exactly what caused the problem with him not going to Blackburn Rovers and this transfer not able to pull through. And apparently, there's a report saying that whoever in the front office of Blackburn Rovers decided to submit the paperwork, yeah, they did it wrong. They were supposed to press submit in terms of the paperwork for the transfer of Duncan McGuire, but instead, they click saved, and by the time they realized that they made a mistake on that, the transfer window already shut. And honestly, I'm going to go back to what I said before about this whole transfer saga and how this is very similar to what we saw a couple of years ago when David De Gea was on his verge of going to Real Madrid, and then they had problem with the fax machine not printing the correct paperwork, and that transfer never happened. And as crazy as that situation has happened, this is easily as crazy and just as baffling as it is. And honestly, as I said many times before, I feel bad for Duncan McGuire, and that this is also where maybe if you're an MLS team, maybe you shouldn't be dealing with teams that have inept kind of office to trying to get a deal to sell one of your player to these teams, because Blackburn Rovers has been mismanaged for the past couple of years, and this is just a latest example of that. And that again, I go back to what I said about Duncan McGuire and how I feel bad for him because of this whole situation. And now it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to do now going back to Orlando City. And that, on one hand, he maybe will be more motivated, the fact that he's going to work harder to trying to get another move to Europe. But on the other hand, he's going to be absolutely devastated because this is probably a dream move of him going to Europe. And that unfortunately it didn't happen. It is completely out of his control too. Yeah, again, it will be very interesting to see how he's gonna do with now going back to Orlando City. Now, CF Montreal has officially announced that they have acquired Josef Martinez off of free agency. So I mentioned this before that it seems like it's going to happen, and it is now official, and it's going to be interesting to see how Josef Martinez does with Montreal. I mean, again, he is a guy that has never really been the same ever since he suffered that torn ACL with Atlanta United, and I don't know if this is going to go so well. I mean, I feel like this is also going to be even more weirder of him seeing him in a different jersey. I mean, at least with him being in Inter Miami, at least he's reunited with Tata Martino. But seeing Josef Martinez wearing a Montreal jersey, like if you would have told me that was gonna be the case a couple of years ago when he was at the top of his game, you would think that that would be insane. The fact that he would be joining another team besides Atlanta United. But yeah, here we are with the way that Josef Martinez has clearly lost a step or two, and we'll see whether or not if he will do well and whether this is the right move for CF Montreal that obviously needs some help on the attacking end, especially needing a number 9. Speaking of the team that need a number 9, Austin FC, they desperately needed a number 9 as I mentioned before, and it turns out that they have acquired that number 9 in Diego Rubio from the Colorado Rapids. Now, obviously, that at least kind of solved part of the problem that Austin FC has have, where they have the new front office with Rodolfo Burrow has been having problem in terms of signing players to the team, and I mentioned in the season preview how they are definitely they're definitely kind of screwed in terms of the way that their roster is so thin right now, especially in the defensive front. But at least this kind of patched up a little bit with them getting a guy that Diego Rubio. I think he's probably one of the more underrated number 9 in the league. I don't think he's getting enough recognition. The fact that even during his time with the Colorado Rapids, when the Rapids were very bad, he was still producing with 10 plus goals. So I think that's going to work out well, especially now that I can't wait to see the partnership between him and Dre Yusi in that spot. But still, again, there is still a lot of holes that this Austin FC team need, but this is just the start of them getting a number 9 and kind of a low risk, high reward kind of signing to be done. Now, the San Jose Earthquakes, they have signed defender Victor Costa from CS Maritimo, and obviously this is definitely add more depth in terms of the fullback position. Actually, not just depth, but definitely a piece for the fullback position, especially in the left back position. I mean, right now I think it's only Paul Marie as the left back for this team, but we'll see whether in the beginning of the season whether if it's still going to be Paul Marie in that left back position. I'm assuming it's probably going to be Victoria Costa, considering the fact that Paul Marie was usually a backup in terms of the fullback position for this Quakes team. But yeah, again, this is a good signing for the Quakes. I'm still waiting for them to get that move where they were linked with a guy from Norway to go through. And from what I heard, it seems like it's getting very close, and it's going to be in these upcoming days before the Quakes will announce a new number 9 on this team. Now, the Houston Dynamo have officially signed Jan Gregush off of free agency, so great to see that Jan Gregush is still staying in the league. And again, he definitely is lost a step or two ever since uh what kind of made him good was doing his time with Minnesota United back in 18 and 19. But that being said, he is a guy that could still use well in terms of depth. And then I'm actually very surprised that with him coming back to Minnesota last season, that he actually got more minutes than I thought he was going to be. But yeah, this is a good depth signing for the Houston Dynamo. And speaking of depth, NYCFC have signed defender, and I'm gonna absolutely butcher this name, but I think it's Shredahan, Teresic, from FK Spartak Subotic. That's how you'd say it. But yeah, it seems like from what I heard, it's a depth signing for this NYCFC team. They also signed goalkeeper Thomas Romero off a free agency, as I also put it here. And I actually did see him play in that Coachella Valley Invitational preseason game between the Quakes and NYCFC, and that I actually didn't realize that NYCFC signed Thomas Romero. I thought he was still with Toronto FC, but it was actually announced today that they, of course, signed him off a free agency, and that must be the quickest I have seen a team basically announce that we got a new signing and we're gonna put him straight away into a preseason game. But that being said, both of those signings, as I mentioned, are just for depth reason. I mean, for Thomas Romero, he's going to be a third string goalkeeper behind Barraza and Matt Freese. Now, the Vancouver Whitecaps, speaking of depth signing in the defensive front, they've signed Canadian defender Bala Hupuni. That's how you pronounce. And again, more from what I heard, it seems like it's a depth signing for this team. And then Orlando City have also signed Robin Janssen to a contract extension. Not a big surprise considering the fact that Robin Janssen just been so important for this Orlando City team. Like besides him and Antonio, Carlos, those two guys, of course, are the big piece on the defensive end. And unfortunately, they did lose Antonio Carlos's off season, but it seems like they already have a replacement for him at least heading into this new season. And then FC Dallas have mutually part way with forward Jesus Jimenez, and it's kind of unfortunate to see what has happened to Jesus Jimenez, considering that during he was with Toronto FC, he actually was looking good, at least in the early days when they first signed him. That he was actually scoring goals, and that I feel like there was not a lot of people talk about how he was scoring a goal every single game and being a legitimate piece for this TFC team going forward. And obviously things didn't quite work out. They traded him to FC Dallas. Maybe things were going to be better, but nope. Instead, he didn't get much playing time with, and especially with the way that Dallas just bring in another number 9 and a big DP number 9 compared to Musa just a couple of days ago. You just kind of had a sense that Jesus Jimenez time with FC Dallas has come to an end, and that they decided to mutually part ways with him. And now it's going to be interesting to see who potentially could pick up Jesus Jimenez, because I do think that if you can get his confidence back to where he was when he first joined Toronto FC, he could be a good, decent number 9 for your team. But we'll see whether or not if there's going to be a team that is able to pick him up off of free agency. And then Charlotte FC have officially sold Vinicius Melo to FK, and I'm gonna butcher this name as well. Kuka Rika, I think that's it. How you say it? Again, anytime when there's a name in involving a team in the Baltic region or a players in the Baltic region, I'm gonna absolutely butcher it. And it's unfortunate that Vinicius Melo never really got playing time for Charlotte FC. I believe he got got injured when he first appeared for this team. But yeah, again, and what's even more unfortunate that we thought that when he first signed for the Charlotte FC team in their expansion season, that he could be a big piece for this attack, and especially signing a good young player down in South America. This seems like it's going to work out for Charlotte, and it just never did. He never got playing time for the Charlotte team, and it seems like they're looking to just move on from him. And then the Chicago Fire, there is a report saying that they are signing midfielder Kellen Acosta. And by the way, we're now talking about the transfer rumors of this past couple of days. But yeah, this is the biggest one considering that, as I mentioned in the season preview about the Fire, they need a number 8 in their team that will complete in terms of them hoping that heading into this season they'll get themselves back to playoff contention, and this will definitely help because Kellen Acosta, very good player, and it's been kind of an interesting career path that Kellen Acosta has put. I always thought that he was gonna make his jump to Europe, especially doing his time with FC Dallas and then going to Colorado. But he decided to join it to LAFC and won an MLS Cup to his credit with the team. But I thought that was kind of the launching point of him going to Europe. But no, he's still sticking around in MLS and now joining with the Chicago Fire. And that again, the Chicago Fire has made some really good moves, and this is going to be one of them. And that this is also where you just had a sense that with all these smart moves that the Chicago Fire has made, surely, surely this has to be the season where they finally end that uh long streak of without appearing in the playoffs heading into this season. And then Orlando City is report that they are set to complete the transfer of Luis Muriel from Atalanta for only 1 million euros. And if this, of course, is the case, this is an absolute steal. I mean, for a guy that is a Colombian international and have played a big part with Atalanta and the Colombian national team, the fact that they are able to get him for only 1 million pound, yeah, that seems like a absolute steal. And sure, yes, Luis Morel is approaching in his 30s and approaching to his mid 30s, but still, even if this guy didn't really do well for Orlando City, that this is still considered a steal. And I've also mentioned before how it's getting kind of interesting to see, do they still complete the transfer of Luis Muriel if the Duncan McGuire situation turn sour like what we seen that has happened, and it seems like the answer is yes. So now it's going to be interesting to see, with Duncan McGuire coming back to Orlando City and them adding Luis Muriel out there, what is Oscar Pereira going to do in terms of that number 9 spot? Because I originally thought Luis Muriel was the player to replace Duncan McGuire, but now you have two of these players. I mean, I'm guessing maybe this is just kind of like a safety blanket in case if Duncan McGuire will get another offer in the summer, and there's no doubt that I think he's going to get another offer in the summer transfer window if he plays well. So yeah, I guess this is them just kind of thinking about the future, but it's going to be interesting to see between him and McGuire, who is going to be the number 9, or are they going to maybe go with a two striker system heading into next season? That is what Oscar Herrera is trying to do. And then Red Star Belgrade actually rejected a $10 million bid for Osman Bakari. So apparently, this is a guy that plays in the wing squad, and I have a feeling that club that they or rejected or the club that rejected the 10 million bid out of MLS, it's probably from the LA Galaxy because the Galaxy love to load up the wing spot, or at least Greg Vanny loved his winger, and that's why this offseason they've signed so many wingers on their team. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. Consider I think this could be a good signing for any MLS team, and especially dropping a huge amount of money. We have seen some huge uh bits throughout this off season, and some that are like 10 million plus in terms of teams trying to sign these players from Europe, and that this of course is another example of it. But it seems like Red Star Belgrade is not going to let go of this specific player, but they are going to let go of one of their player too, as they're going to let go of Jovan Mijedovic, as it is a report saying that NYCFC is looking to acquire him. Now, this is the guy is an 18-year-old, and he has definitely have a lot of upside. And don't be surprised, he might be one for the future for this NYCFC team. That with a core that they of course currently have. Once that core start age out, he might play into to that spot. So overall, I think this could be a good signing for NYCFC if this, of course, is made an official signing. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of this news of the week episode. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these news? And as always, if there's any news I didn't mention here on the board, let me know in the comments below as always. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.